Hey guys, how's it going? It is Larsen here, and in today's video, I've seen a lot of people talk about 5-way farming. It's the best farm ever. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And I feel like there has been a lot of secrecy about it in the past, exactly what to do, what does it cost to get into, and is it worth your time? I'm gonna dive into it. Over the past 2 days, I borrowed a set of gear from my friend who's trying to sell his build, and he was like, hey, do you want to try it out? And I was like, sure, why not? I have never ever done 5-way farming before, and it's honestly not that hard to get into, but it comes with a few things, right? You do make a lot of currency, but also there's a lot of annoying steps that comes in with some of the currency if you want to get the most out of it, and we'll dive into that later. We can look over some of the gear. It is pretty expensive to get into. But it's, if you have a Headhunter, I think if you have about 150 to 200 exalt, you can get in on like what you can call the a little bit cheaper versions. And if you want to go ham, it's gonna cost you a little bit more. This build is around 380 exalt with everything said and done. But also this late into the league, the gems, the clusters are pretty expensive. We are using a 528 Fist DPS one. We're using a Crown of Ice Super Circle with the KB and maximum power charges. We shape amulet, impulsors, shape a ring, hold the ring. This shield is very cheap. We're using some shoes here. They're also very cheap. These sockets are only like 2 extra each. Headhunters now, they're 110 extra. And shadows and dust with the daily weakness and hit is only about 7 exons. We actually have the price breakdown here, where you can see that the most expensive parts here is if you want the really big one, it's 125x. But I've been talking to other 5-way carriers. They usually only have like low 400s, and to make a 450 DPS ones is like around 50 extra probably if you know how to craft. It doesn't have to be this good, but I had a really good one when I did the testing. And then if you want to see where the other cost is, we have the belt, which is pretty expensive. The clusters are definitely not cheap, and then the rest of the cost really comes from gems like Enlighten times 2. It's even more now. It's like 36 exalt drops for 2 enlightens level 4. And the rest, it's just that up. Everything here is 413x, but he's discounted it if somebody wants to buy it. His name is Veneer, and I'll share this. It wouldn't be Veneer, but I'll share this. I'll put it in the name, so you have this POB in the description if anybody wants to check it out. That's cool. How do you find people? So for me, what I did is I had this template here. I would copy this onto the TFT Discord of Forbidden Trove, and I would just post it in the 5-way hosting AAC. If I search last, I'm gonna see if I can find my name. It's that, but I have some roles here. I do have a streamer role, so my name is red. So whenever I post, I get a because I have a special color. But for me, it was extremely easy to find rotations. But I've been told that just because I have a streamer role in the Discord, I do get a little bit more people to get the invites. But even if I was streaming, if I was not streaming, it would take me 5 minutes most to fill up a party. But I only did it on a Saturday and a Sunday, so it might be a little bit harder. If you're new, if you don't have a lot of vouchers on the Discord, it might take you a little bit longer to fill it up. And you might have to keep asking the people that come into your services to give you some vouchers, so you can get some more roles, some more trust. And once you find it out the initial stages, it shouldn't be too hard to find people to get into your runs. But in the beginning, it can be pretty hard. Other than that, in your offhand, you can get a bow with blue sockets, and you can also make your quiver blue. And the best gems to level up right now are Enlighten gems. And the special thing about Enlightens is if you look at the quality, if you give them 20 quality, they get 100% increased experience. And if you are to buy gems like Enlighten, it will take you 25 runs of the 5-way to level it up. And every 25 runs, if you choose to just sell the gems level 3 and corrupted, you can make 9 extra guaranteed, or gamble with the corruptions. The corruption gamble is obviously up to you. But it can be pretty good profit margins, because right now, it costs 4.4-ish to buy a level 1 Enlighten. And if you level it to level 3, you can sell it for 5.4 and make 1 exalt pure profit. But if you hit level 4, there are 18 exalt drops right now. And if you fail the corrupt and it goes back to just level 3 corrupted, it's a 3.5-ish exalted orb. So if you were to fail the corrupt, you lose 1 exalted orb for your original price, or you go 2 lower than just selling it uncorrupted. But it's up to you if you want to corrupt them or not. But I definitely recommend getting 9 enlightened and make sure they're all 20 quality. If you want to, you can get a better bow than mine. This was extremely cheap. I just searched for a 6 socket blue. It costs 1 exalted orb, but you can get a synthesized bow that has increased quality. You can color it yourself, which is going to be a pain in the ass because it's a dex-based bow. And then you can craft quality, and you can get even more quality and level up the gems even faster than 25 runs. But this moves on to the next subject. This is something that is very straining on your body and your soul. It does hurt your wrist because you're gonna have to click a lot. It's really click intensive, and you cannot really do super long sessions at a time, in my opinion. It's also very mind numbing because you're just running around and your screen is always completely covered with kinetic blast and other things. So it's something that you don't want to do 10 hours a day. I'd say a good balance is to 25 sets, which is 2.5 hours. You can corrupt your gems, you can sell your gems, take a break, and then if you want to play a bit more, you can do another 2.5 hours. But every 2.5 hours I was able to make a solid 34 exalts pure profit by just selling the boost and leveling up gems, which means that every 5 runs that I do, I would charge 9 exalted orb in totals. I would charge 2 exalts. I'll just bring this up so you can see. I would charge 2 exalts per person that wanted to come in and leech, and I would charge 1 exalt for people that wanted to reset. So the price is here. Declines at 2x for 5 runs, and the resetter is 1x for 5 runs. So I would make 9 exalted orb for 5 runs, but it costs you 4 exalted orb in sets, so it's 5 exalted orb profit. And every 25 runs you level up the gems, so 25 runs, 25x profit plus 9 from the gems is 94 over 25 runs. And I found that's the perfect amount you want to do in a row to not strain your hands and not like get a headache or feel dizzy because you're literally zooming around in a circle all the time. And that's a bit of a downside, right? It's not something like if you're playing a fun build and you're going to maps and it's a little bit difficult, you can play a mapping character for many hours in a row. At least I can. But for this, I had to do short intervals. But the money you made is really, really crazy. Now, there's another side to this, right? You do make more money than those 20 or 34 exalted orbs. You get a lot of timeless jewels. I did about 150 runs, and I have close to 1,000 timeless jewels. It's actually crazy how many timeless jewels there is. It's just like, I think I have between 800 and 900 timeless jewels in 150 runs, which is crazy. And now, there is no easy way to check them. The thing you can do is that you have a second character, and I might do it, is you would have to go to all these nodes where they are, and you would have to manually search. For example, the brutal restraints, you would have to search for increased dexterity everywhere. The green ones, I'm not sure what you search for. For the red ones, I think you search for minion stuff. For the white ones, you search for minion stuff. And for the lethal prides, you search for double damage and increased strength. As far as I know, there's probably more much you can search for. And if you know, you have any tips on how to look them up, let me know. It's a project that I'm gonna do. But for now, I've just listed them in price 10 exalts, price 10 exalts, price 5 exalts. And if people are like, hey, I want it, I have been able to sell a few at a high price. Or it shows you that they're probably something good if people are willing to pay a lot of money on them. But otherwise, you'd have to go and check every single one. And it's actually also really hard to, like, how do you price check it? How do you sell it? It's a little bit of a bother. So either you sell them at minimum price, which, for these lethal price are like 12, 15C. These are really, really low. The only ones that has a good base price are the brutal restraints. That's at like 30 chaos a piece. It can be quite difficult to sell them. So what I've done for now is just put them in a dump tab. I kind of close my eyes. Unless you can go in, check every single one of them. And then you have to also figure out how to talk about them, right? Your best bet would be the TFT Discord. But it's not the easiest thing to price. It's not the easiest thing to do. And it's going to take you a lot of your time to look over these jewels. And you have to make images for everything is. And then you have to try and list it in like some Discord server. and it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So when people come out and say these videos, yo, it's so sick, you make so much money off timeless jewels. Well, I mean, the amount of time you have to spend to look up every single jewel, you have to, you know, bring out the good old Microsoft Paint and then try and figure everything out. And then you don't really have any guidelines of how much everything is worth. So you kind of have to take guesses. It's not the easiest thing to convert into money. So I don't know. That's definitely a downside, right? So the easiest profit you make is by selling the boost and by leveling up gems. That's easy money. The jewels can be quite frustrating, and unless you want to spend literal hours on looking them up, trying to sell them, guessing what prices are. Like, I'll be able to do this on my Twitch stream and hopefully get some people to help me figure out the prices. Timeless jewels are not an easy thing to get rid of unless you just want to sell it at the minimum price. But then you could have some anxiety with fear of missing out. You know what I mean? But I just want to make sure that you guys understand that it's not easy to get rid of them. If you want to, you know, you can put them in a tab like this, keep lowering the price and hope people will buy it, or you have to manually check every single one and figure out what slots they're good in, etc, etc, etc. Now, this build, if you don't know much about it, it uses Kinetic Blast. Kinetic Blast is a skill that don't do a lot of single target damage unless you shoot it up against the wall. And luckily there's lots of walls and pillars in here, so when the boss is up against the pillar, up against the wall, you do manage to kill it quite quickly. We have absolutely no defenses at all whatsoever. We rely on our Headhunter and our 3 inspired learnings to survive by picking up Headhunter buffs, inspired learning buffs, and just having a lot of move speed in general. I did, like I said, about 150 runs and I only died one time. And the only time you're ever in danger is like in the first 20 seconds. It can be a little bit rough. And the only reason why I died was because I ran too close to this guy while he was doing an attack, and I ran into his TG on the ground in one shot. It's pretty simple. And like I said, I think the hardest part is to start. So let me just show you how I start up. I usually start here. All my boosties will be right here next to this pillar, so make sure I clear this up. And I just make sure I killed all the bosses one time, and now it's pretty easy. Now, if there was a real one, I would have a resetter, and you pretty much just run around in a circle for the entire duration of this, right? This is obviously not the best showcase, but you get the idea, right? You're just gonna run around, you're gonna get lots of buffs. You're gonna have a guy in the middle that resets for you, so you don't have to go in yourself. And then you just cruise around. There's no real danger of anything. The only thing you do have to watch out for is if some of the bosses are going near to you people that you're boosting. Then you have to kill them. Otherwise, you just run around and try and kill as many monsters per run. By just having random resources, I was able to get 7.5 thousand monsters in a run. An average. This is pretty decent. You can get more, I've been told, if you have like 2 people resetting at the same time and they coordinate exactly when they go in and out and they know how to do that, then you can get more monsters. But I just did, you know, a solo run. It was fine. People weren't complaining. They were happy with the amount of experience that they were getting. And that's it, right? I think, you know, that you can make an easy 34 exalts per 25 runs, which is like 13.6 exalts an hour by just doing boost and leveling up gems. And if you want to sell the timeless jewels, it can be a pain in the ass. I don't have a good way of doing it. I don't know of anyone that have a good way of doing it. You would have to check every single one of them. But like I said, you get a buttload of them every run I do. I get about 3 to 4 on average. 3 to 4 on average every single run that I do. Sometimes even more. So that's it. That's the video. I think these are the realest numbers I can give you. I was able to make 13.6 exalt an hour on average by just selling boost and leveling up gems. You do get a few other random drops like scarabs and maps and whatnot, but it's nothing that's really need to be mentioned. I think I dropped 1 exalt personally for me in all these hours, and it was like, you know, it's good, it's stable money, but it's not something you want to do for long periods of time doing a day of grinding. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys actually understand what 5-way carries is about now. The upsides and the downsides, and no bullshit. This is some real stats. I did it. I done it a bit, and I'm very confident in what I'm saying. I hope you guys like this video. If you're interested in the build, I'll leave his name in the POB. I'll leave the POB down in the description if you want to see every single part of the build. And I hope I see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.